Andre Ryson, known to fans as Bad Moon, was one of the NFL's flashiest stars of the 1990s. Born in Flint, Michigan, Ryson was selected 22nd overall in the first round of the 1989 NFL Draft by the Indianapolis Colts. But it was with the Atlanta Falcons that he truly made his name. Over a 12-year career, he played for 7 NFL teams, including the Cleveland Browns, Kansas City Chiefs, and Green Bay Packers, winning Super Bowl 31 with the Packers in 1997. By the time he retired, Ryson had racked up over 700 receptions, 10,000 receiving yards, 5 Pro Bowl selections, and a place among the league's top receivers of his era. Yet for all the highlights on the field, his financial life off it was chaotic. Ryson earned nearly $20 million during his playing days, but spent lavishly, burning through fortunes on jewelry, luxury cars, strip clubs, and a high-profile relationship with TLC singer Lisa Lopez. That relationship famously ended when Lopez burned down Ryson's Atlanta mansion in 1994. Ryson also had extensive child support obligations, reportedly supporting up to 8 children, and fell behind on payments. By the mid-2000s, he was already in debt, and in 2007, he filed for bankruptcy. In 2012, Ryson was sentenced to 5 years probation after failing to pay more than $300,000 in child support. Earlier, in 2005, he'd even spent time in jail for similar violations. His probation was later extended after repeated non-compliance with payment orders. Today, Andre Ryson speaks openly about his mistakes. He's worked as a coach at the high school level and appeared in ESPN's Broke documentary, warning young athletes about financial recklessness. Bernie Kosar was once the golden boy of Northeast Ohio. Born in Youngstown and raised in Boardman, he led the University of Miami to a national championship before orchestrating a strategic draft maneuver in 1985 to land with his hometown team, the Cleveland Browns. On the field, Kosar was brilliant. Known for his awkward throwing style but sharp mind, he led the Browns to 3 AFC championship games and became a symbol of hope in a city starved for football glory. But after retiring from the NFL in 1996, Kosar's off-field life took a sharp downturn. Despite earning millions during his playing days, including a hefty $9 million contract extension in 1989, Kosar's financial foundation collapsed under poor investments, failed real estate ventures, and deep-rooted family mismanagement. He later revealed that his own father had mishandled large portions of his wealth. In 2009, Kosar filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, disclosing assets of just $9.2 million against debts totaling $18.9 million. His creditors included his ex-wife, the Cleveland Browns, and business partners tied to bad real estate deals. Kosar didn't fade quietly. He became a warning voice in the ESPN 30 for 30 documentary, Broke, where he spoke candidly about trusting the wrong people and the physical and emotional toll of the game. He also became a mental health and brain trauma advocate, revealing his battles with concussions and neurological damage. Art Schlicker was once Ohio's golden boy. Born in Bloomingburg in 1960, he became a household name in the late 70s and early 80s as Ohio State's star quarterback. But behind the spotlight, a secret addiction was already consuming him: gambling. In 1982, the Baltimore Colts drafted Schlicker 4th overall. Expectations were sky high, but just months into his rookie season, he had already gambled away his entire $350,000 signing bonus. He racked up massive debts, betting on college basketball and NFL games, violating league rules. By 1983, the NFL suspended him indefinitely. Though reinstated a year later, the damage was done. He never started an NFL game again and was released by the Colts in 1985. His professional career fizzled out and his addiction only worsened. Over the next 2 decades, Schlicker was arrested more than 40 times, mostly for fraud schemes tied to his gambling habit. In 2011, his darkest moment arrived. He was convicted for orchestrating a massive ticket scam, swindling over $2 million from dozens of victims. The court sentenced him to over 11 years in federal prison. From Heisman hopeful to convicted felon, Art Schlicker's story is a tragic portrait of potential lost to addiction. By the way, I'm going to be posting a lot more interesting videos on the channel. I'll greatly appreciate it if you could show support by liking and subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much. Adrian Peterson. Once hailed as one of the most electrifying running backs in NFL history, his journey from gridiron greatness to financial collapse is as shocking as it is sobering. Born in Palestine, Texas, Peterson was drafted 7th overall by the Minnesota Vikings in 2007. He exploded onto the scene with 296 rushing yards in a single game as a rookie, an NFL record. Over a storied 15-year career, he racked up over 14,000 rushing yards, made 7 Pro Bowls, and claimed the 2012 NFL MVP just months after tearing his ACL. By retirement, Peterson had earned over $100 million in salary alone. But behind the scenes, money was bleeding fast. By 2019, reports surfaced that Peterson was being sued by multiple creditors for unpaid loans. He had borrowed millions of dollars from high-interest lenders, often to repay previous debts. One 2016 loan for $5.2 million ballooned into a court-ordered $8.3 million judgment. Another creditor sued him for $6.6 million, and there were still more claims from additional lenders. His legal team blamed bad financial advisors, saying Peterson had been misled and left personally liable for business loans he didn't fully understand. But it wasn't just bad advice. It was also lavish spending. Reports detailed luxury cars, massive homes, and extravagant events, including a 30th birthday party featuring a camel, a live band, and hundreds of guests. In September 2024, a judge ordered Peterson to turn over his remaining assets. And in 2025, financial pressure pushed him into celebrity boxing and public appearances. Yet Peterson denies he's broke, claiming he's simply untangling a complex legal mess. Joe Gilliam Jr., born in Nashville, Tennessee in 1950, was a football prodigy long before the NFL gave him a chance. The son of a college coach, he lit up the field at Tennessee State University. But in 1972, when the Pittsburgh Steelers selected him in the 11th round, no one expected him to make history. By 1974, Gilliam became the first African-American quarterback to start a regular season NFL game in Week 1. It was a powerful moment, during a time when black quarterbacks were still rarely seen in starting roles. He opened the season strong, leading the Steelers to a 4-1-1 record and briefly becoming the face of the franchise. But the spotlight came with pressure. After a few inconsistent performances and mounting scrutiny, Gilliam was benched mid-season for Terry Bradshaw. Though the Steelers went on to win Super Bowl IX, Gilliam's career never recovered. Off the field, things turned darker. Released in 1975, Gilliam spiraled into drug addiction, first heroin, then cocaine. Without football or financial support, his life unraveled. He pawned his Super Bowl rings. He was arrested multiple times. At one point, he lived in a cardboard box under a bridge in Nashville. In the late 90s, Gilliam made a quiet return to football, coaching youth and speaking out about addiction. He had periods of sobriety and moments of reflection. But the years of damage caught up with him. On Christmas Day in 2000, Joe Gilliam died of a cocaine overdose at age 49. Mike Webster was once the foundation of greatness for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Born in 1952 in Tomahawk, Wisconsin, he became the legendary center who helped lead the Steelers to 4 Super Bowl championships during the 1970s. Nicknamed Iron Mike for his unmatched durability, he played 17 seasons in the NFL, 15 with Pittsburgh, 2 with Kansas City, and was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1997. But behind the Hall of Fame bust was a deeply tragic descent. After retiring in 1990, Webster's life spiraled. He suffered from depression, memory loss, insomnia, and severe mood swings. Years of punishing hits had left his brain damaged, but no one knew it at the time. He couldn't manage his finances, burned through his savings, and by the late 1990s was homeless, living out of his pickup truck and occasionally at train stations in Pittsburgh. He wasn't extravagant. His money vanished in medical expenses, failed treatments, and desperation. Friends and family watched helplessly as the once great lineman slipped into poverty and paranoia. In 2002, Mike Webster died of a heart attack at just 50 years old. But his story changed the NFL forever. Dr. Bennett Omalu examined his brain and discovered chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, the first documented case in an NFL player. The findings ignited a firestorm. Webster's tragedy forced the league to confront the long-term damage of repeated head trauma. Mike Webster wasn't just a football hero who lost everything. He became the face of a silent epidemic and the man whose suffering gave future players a fighting chance. Terrell Owens, known to fans as T.O., was one of the most explosive wide receivers in NFL history. Born in Alexander City, Alabama in 1973, Owens entered the league in 1996 when the San Francisco 49ers drafted him in the third round. Over 15 seasons, he became a 6-time Pro Bowler and 5-time first-team All-Pro, racking up 15,934 receiving yards and 153 touchdowns. He played for the 49ers, Eagles, Cowboys, Bills, and Bengals, leaving his mark with every franchise. Despite earning approximately $80 million during his playing career, Owens' finances collapsed within just a couple of years after retirement. In a 2012 GQ interview, he admitted being flat broke. A series of bad investments, a lavish lifestyle, and enormous child support obligations drained his fortune. Owens said he was paying nearly $45,000 per month in child support to 4 different women and had lost millions in failed real estate deals and a shady Alabama electronic bingo business. Unlike many athletes, Owens didn't lose it all on personal extravagance alone. He also trusted financial advisors who allegedly mismanaged or stole from him. He later revealed he didn't have any real friends left, saying, "I'm in hell," as he struggled to find stability in life after football. Post-NFL, Owens tried everything from reality TV to minor league football and speaking engagements. He even publicly begged for another shot at the league. Though that return never came, Owens was finally inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2018. But in a move that mirrored his career-long clashes with the establishment, he refused to attend the official ceremony. Instead, he held his own event at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. Luther Ellis, born March 22, 1973 in Mancos, Colorado, was a powerhouse on the defensive line, a first-round draft pick in 1995 by the Detroit Lions. For nearly a decade, Ellis dominated NFL trenches, earning 2 Pro Bowl selections and amassing respect for his grit and leadership. He wrapped up his playing career with the Denver Broncos in 2004, retiring after 10 seasons in the league. But despite earning over $11 million from 2000 to 2004 alone, Ellis filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy in 2009. The reasons were a combination of failed business ventures, poor financial advice, and a deeply generous heart. He and his wife raised 12 children, including several adopted kids, and Ellis often found himself financially supporting extended family, friends, and causes close to his faith. Real estate deals soured. A business he started, Trinity Armor, collapsed, and by 2010, he reported $1.4 million in assets against $4.4 million in debt, with homes in both Michigan and Utah facing foreclosure. But Ellis didn't stay down. Guided by his Christian faith, he returned to school, earned his degree, and began mentoring young athletes. He eventually became a team chaplain for the Denver Broncos, then a defensive line coach at the University of Idaho, and later rejoined his alma mater, the University of Utah, as a coach in 2022. Clinton Portis was one of the NFL's brightest stars. Born in Laurel, Mississippi in 1981 and raised in Gainesville, Florida, Portis burst into the league in 2002 after a standout college career at the University of Miami. Drafted in the second round by the Denver Broncos, his rookie season was explosive, 1,508 rushing yards and 15 touchdowns. He followed it up with another 1,500-yard campaign before being traded in 2004 to Washington in exchange for cornerback Champ Bailey, a blockbuster deal that defined that era. In Washington, Portis remained the centerpiece of the offense. He racked up over 6,800 rushing yards and 49 touchdowns in 7 seasons, becoming one of the franchise's most iconic running backs. Over his 9-year career, Portis earned an estimated $43 million. But behind the on-field dominance, his financial life was unraveling. Portis trusted a group of financial advisors without fully understanding where his money was going. He invested heavily in questionable ventures and lost millions through mismanagement. By 2015, just 5 years after retiring from the NFL, he filed for bankruptcy. At the time, court documents showed he owed nearly $5 million, including back taxes, mortgages, and child support. He had also lost several properties and cars. In a haunting interview with Sports Illustrated, Portis admitted he once sat outside an advisor's office with a gun, ready to kill him, only to be talked down by a friend. The downfall didn't end there. In 2021, Portis pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud. Along with several other former NFL players, he submitted false claims totaling nearly $100,000 to the league's health reimbursement program. In January 2022, Portis was sentenced to 6 months in federal prison, followed by 6 months of home confinement. Lawrence Taylor, known simply as LT, was born in Williamsburg, Virginia, on February 4, 1959. By the early 1980s, he was rewriting the rules of defense in the National Football League. Drafted second overall by the New York Giants in 1981, Taylor exploded onto the scene and quickly became a generational talent. In his rookie year, he won NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year, an unprecedented feat. Taylor spent his entire 13-year career with the Giants, where he earned 10 Pro Bowl selections, 8 first-team All-Pro honors, 2 Super Bowl rings, and the 1986 NFL MVP, one of only 2 defensive players in history to ever win the award. But off the field, Taylor's life was spiraling. By his own admission, Taylor began using cocaine as early as his second year in the league. He later revealed in his autobiography that he would spend thousands of dollars a day on drugs and prostitutes. His addiction led to multiple failed drug tests, a suspension in 1988, and several stints in rehab. Despite earning an estimated $50 million throughout his career, Taylor's lavish lifestyle and chronic drug abuse left him in financial shambles. In 1998, just 5 years after retirement, Taylor filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy to avoid foreclosure on his New Jersey mansion. He cited overwhelming debt and poor financial decisions, many of which were tied to failed business ventures. A second bankruptcy filing followed in 2009 to stave off foreclosure on another property. Taylor's post-NFL life was also marred by legal trouble. In 2011, he pleaded guilty to sexual misconduct and patronizing a prostitute who turned out to be underage. He was sentenced to 6 years probation and placed on the sex offender registry. Despite all of this, Taylor was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1999. He occasionally makes media appearances and has written about his struggles. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'm cooking lots of interesting videos you'll love. Mark Brunell was once the golden arm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Born in California and drafted in 1993 by the Green Bay Packers, Brunell made his name after being traded to the Jaguars in 1995. He quickly became a franchise icon, earning 3 Pro Bowl selections, leading the NFL in passing yards in 1996, and guiding the expansion Jaguars to 2 AFC Championship appearances. Over his 19-year career, which included stints with Washington, the Saints, and the Jets, Brunell reportedly earned between $50 and $70 million in salary and bonuses. But by 2010, while still signed with the New York Jets, Brunell filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, listing nearly $25 million in liabilities and only around $5 million in assets. What happened? The downfall wasn't reckless spending. It was overconfidence in business. Brunell invested heavily in Champion LLC, a high-end real estate development firm in Florida. He also bought into multiple Whataburger franchises and at least 9 different business ventures. Many of them went under during the 2008 housing market crash, and Brunell was left personally guaranteeing massive loans, millions of dollars he would never recover. In court filings, Brunell explained he wasn't living lavishly. He simply trusted the wrong people and backed too many deals with personal guarantees. The failed businesses triggered lawsuits, foreclosures, and mounting debts that even his NFL income couldn't match. But Brunell didn't vanish. After retirement, he pivoted. He became a high school football coach in Jacksonville, a motivational speaker, and a pastor. As of 2021, he re-entered the NFL world as quarterbacks coach for the Detroit Lions. Deuce McAllister was once the heart and soul of the New Orleans Saints. Born in Mississippi, he was drafted 23rd overall in the 2001 NFL Draft after a standout college career at Ole Miss. From 2001 to 2009, he became the Saints' all-time leading rusher, beloved for his power running, leadership, and unwavering loyalty to a city devastated by Hurricane Katrina. But off the field, another storm was brewing, one that would take years to unfold. After injuries forced his retirement in 2009, McAllister turned to business. He opened Deuce McAllister Nissan, a car dealership in Jackson, Mississippi. It was supposed to be a stable post-football venture, a way to give back and grow his legacy. But the business quickly sank under debt. By early 2009, McAllister and his dealership owed over $6.6 million to Nissan Motor Acceptance Corp., including nearly $300,000 in interest. The company sued him, alleging missed payments and overdrawn credit lines. McAllister filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in March 2009 in an attempt to reorganize. But by May, the dealership was forced into Chapter 7 liquidation and the assets were sold off. Despite his best intentions, the venture crumbled under financial pressure and mismanagement, marking a painful fall from grace. But Deuce didn't vanish. He returned to the Saints organization as a radio analyst and remains a respected figure in New Orleans. Michael Vick, once the face of the NFL's future. Drafted first overall by the Atlanta Falcons in 2001, the electrifying quarterback from Newport News, Virginia, revolutionized the position with his unmatched speed and cannon-like arm. By the mid-2000s, Vick had become one of the most marketable athletes in the world, earning over $100 million in NFL salary and endorsement deals with companies like Nike and Coca-Cola. But in 2007, everything unraveled. Federal investigators uncovered Vick's involvement in an illegal dogfighting ring based in rural Virginia. The case shocked fans and devastated his image. That same year, he was indicted, pleaded guilty, and was sentenced to 23 months in federal prison. While behind bars, Vick's finances collapsed. He filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2008, citing nearly $18 million in debt, much of it tied to failed business ventures, lavish spending, and legal fees. Among the shocking revelations, Vick had once spent $300,000 a month to maintain his lifestyle, including luxury cars, multiple homes, and entourages. But unlike many others, Vick's story didn't end in ruin. Upon release in 2009, he made a rare NFL comeback with the Philadelphia Eagles. With discipline and a repayment plan in place, he worked to rebuild his life, both on and off the field. By 2017, he had reportedly paid off his debts in full. Charlie Batch, born in Homestead, Pennsylvania, was once a rising star under center. Drafted in the second round of the 1998 NFL Draft by the Detroit Lions, Batch quickly earned the starting role, showing grit and leadership. After 4 seasons in Detroit, injuries and the arrival of Joey Harrington ended his tenure. But Batch found redemption in Pittsburgh, his hometown, where he served as a trusted backup to Ben Roethlisberger, collecting 2 Super Bowl rings and becoming a fan favorite for his leadership on and off the field. Despite earning millions over a 15-year career, financial disaster struck after football. In the mid-2000s, Batch ventured into real estate and business, founding multiple companies, including a tech firm and real estate investments through entities like Impact TT and Batch Development Company. But when the 2008 housing market crashed, Batch's investments went south. By late 2010, he was drowning in debt. In January 2011, he filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, reporting over $8.3 million in liabilities against just $2.3 million in assets. Court documents revealed massive debts tied to defaulted real estate loans, failed partnerships, and back taxes. Creditors included banks and lenders, and some claims were backed by prized possessions like his Super Bowl rings and personal memorabilia, though he ultimately didn't lose them. The news shocked many. How did a player known for his intelligence and discipline fall so hard? But Charlie Batch didn't stay down. He fought to stabilize his finances, remained active in the media as a Steelers analyst, and expanded his Best of the Batch Foundation, continuing to serve underprivileged youth across Pennsylvania. Demarcus Dawson, born in Lexington, Kentucky in 1965, was more than just an NFL center. He was the gold standard. Drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the second round of the 1988 NFL Draft, Dawson went on to play his entire 13-year career in the Steel City. From 1988 to 2000, he became the anchor of Pittsburgh's offensive line, earning 7 consecutive Pro Bowl selections and being named to the NFL 1990s All-Decade Team. His dominance in the trenches earned him a spot in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2012. But behind the Hall of Fame bust was a post-retirement financial collapse that stunned many. After leaving the game, Dawson ventured into real estate investments and backed several development partnerships, many of which failed during the 2008 financial crisis. By 2010, he filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, listing $69.6 million in liabilities and just $1.4 million in assets. The debts were largely due to personal guarantees on loans tied to failed real estate ventures, in which he held only minority interests. At the time of his filing, Dawson wasn't living lavishly. He listed a $500,000 home and a $400,000 motorhome among his assets. But with creditors pressing in and lawsuits stacking up, his financial empire collapsed almost overnight. Still, Dawson didn't retreat. He took accountability, stayed involved in community initiatives, and later served as a motivational speaker, using his downfall as a teaching moment. Travis Henry, born in Frostproof, Florida in 1978, was once a powerhouse running back in the NFL. After a standout college career at the University of Tennessee, he was selected in the second round of the 2001 NFL Draft by the Buffalo Bills. Henry wasted no time making an impact, rushing for over 1,400 yards in 2002 and earning a Pro Bowl selection. He spent 4 seasons with the Bills before stints with the Tennessee Titans and Denver Broncos, finishing his NFL career with 6,086 rushing yards and 38 touchdowns. But Henry's off-field life became a storm of personal and financial chaos. He fathered at least 11 children with 10 different women. By 2009, court records revealed he owed over $170,000 annually in child support. Despite earning around $11 million during his NFL career, Henry was quickly overwhelmed. Lavish spending, poor money management, and the massive cost of supporting multiple households drained his finances. In 2008, things took a darker turn. Henry was arrested in Montana for financing a multi-kilogram cocaine trafficking ring. Federal agents described him as the money guy behind the operation. In April 2009, he pleaded guilty to conspiracy to possess cocaine with intent to distribute and was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. The judge noted that Henry had significant criminal responsibility, but also acknowledged his cooperation and acceptance of guilt. Chris McAllister was once the face of lockdown defense in the NFL. Born in Pasadena, California in 1977, he rose to national prominence at the University of Arizona before being drafted 10th overall by the Baltimore Ravens in the 1999 NFL Draft. Over the next decade, McAllister became a key part of the Ravens' defense, earning 3 Pro Bowl selections and helping Baltimore win Super Bowl 35 in 2001. He was known for his elite coverage skills, swagger, and game-changing plays. In 2004, McAllister signed a 7-year, $55 million contract, one of the richest cornerback deals of the era. But behind the scenes, cracks were forming. Injuries began to limit his play, and by 2009, the Ravens released him. He briefly joined the New Orleans Saints, but never played a down. That same year, his NFL career quietly ended. Just 2 years later, in 2011, shocking details emerged in court documents during a child support dispute. McAllister revealed he was unemployed, had no steady income, and was living with his parents in Pasadena. He told the court he couldn't afford the $11,000 monthly child support payments ordered after a short-lived marriage. This was a man who had once signed one of the league's biggest contracts, now unable to meet basic obligations. The reasons? Lavish spending, poor financial planning, and a post-NFL life without structure or preparation. McAllister had no fallback plan, and like many former players, the money ran out faster than anyone expected. Warren Sapp was once the face of defensive dominance in the NFL, Born in 1972 in Orlando, Florida, he became a college football star at the University of Miami before being drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 1995. Over a 13-year NFL career, spanning the Bucs and later the Oakland Raiders, Sapp earned 7 Pro Bowl selections, the 1999 Defensive Player of the Year award, and helped lead Tampa Bay to its first-ever Super Bowl victory in 2003. By the time he retired in 2008, he'd made an estimated $40 to $58 million from NFL contracts alone. But just 4 years later, in March 2012, Sapp filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy in Florida. The filing revealed over $6.7 million in debt and only $6.45 million in assets. He claimed just $826 in his bank account, despite once owning 240 pairs of Air Jordans, lionskin rugs, fine art, and multiple homes. He had also lost both his Super Bowl and college championship rings. Sapp blamed the collapse on failed real estate ventures, mounting legal fees, back taxes, and over $75,000 in unpaid child support and alimony. His lavish lifestyle, spanning luxury cars, high-end vacations, and costly business flops, only deepened the hole. Then in 2015, after being arrested for soliciting prostitutes and assault in a Phoenix hotel during Super Bowl weekend, he was fired from his analyst role at NFL Network, cutting off one of his last major income sources. Today, Sapp is making a quiet return to football, joining Deion Sanders' staff as a pass rush specialist at the University of Colorado. Vince Young was once one of football's brightest stars. Born in Houston, Texas, in 1983, he skyrocketed to fame after leading the University of Texas to a legendary national championship win in the 2006 Rose Bowl. That same year, he was drafted 3rd overall by the Tennessee Titans, earning a $26 million guaranteed contract. Young's early NFL career was promising. He was named Offensive Rookie of the Year and selected to 2 Pro Bowls. But behind the accolades, trouble was building. Despite earning over $34 million in salary and endorsements, Young filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2014, just 8 years after being drafted. So, where did the money go? Young lived extravagantly. He reportedly spent $5,000 a week at the Cheesecake Factory, once allegedly spending $15,000 in a single visit. He also chartered private jets for routine travel and once bought out all the seats on a Southwest flight, just to fly alone. Beyond the spending, his finances were mismanaged. A $1.8 million high-interest loan was taken out during the 2011 NFL lockout, allegedly without his full knowledge, and he later sued his financial advisor and uncle for misappropriating funds. Court documents suggested up to $5.5 million was unaccounted for. By 2014, Young's assets were estimated at under $1 million, with debts between $1 and $10 million. Attempts at a football comeback, including brief stints with the Eagles, Packers, and CFL's Saskatchewan Roughriders, failed to revive his career. However, he gradually rebuilt. He earned his college degree, worked at the University of Texas, launched a steakhouse, and got involved in business and mentoring. Jamal Lewis, born in Atlanta in 1979, was once one of the most feared running backs in the NFL. Drafted 5th overall by the Baltimore Ravens in 2000, he exploded onto the scene with a rare combination of speed and power. By 2003, Lewis etched his name in the history books, rushing for 2,066 yards, the 3rd highest single-season total at the time. That same year, he was named NFL Offensive Player of the Year. A Super Bowl champion as a rookie and a consistent offensive threat, Lewis seemed unstoppable. But after retiring in 2009, the financial reality hit hard. Despite earning over $40 million during his NFL career, Lewis filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2012. Court filings revealed $14.5 million in assets, including multiple properties and luxury vehicles, but over $10.5 million in debt. Failed business ventures, including a trucking company, combined with excessive personal spending, drained his wealth. He owed hundreds of thousands on mortgages and over $100,000 on luxury cars like a Mercedes CL 63 AMG. Adding to the strain were lingering injuries and mental health struggles. Lewis spoke publicly about post-concussion symptoms, memory issues, and depression. In a desperate move, he even sold his Super Bowl 35 ring to stay afloat financially. William Perry was once the face of power and personality in the NFL, fondly called the Fridge. Born in Aiken, South Carolina in 1962, Perry became a national sensation in 1985 when he joined the Chicago Bears as a first-round draft pick. At 6'2" and over 330 pounds, his size was unmatched, but it was his surprising agility and charisma that turned him into a household name. Perry made headlines not just as a defensive tackle, but as an unlikely fullback, scoring a touchdown in Super Bowl 20. He earned millions from his NFL career, plus endorsements and TV appearances. At the peak of his fame, he was bigger than football itself, literally and figuratively. But behind the fame, trouble was brewing. After retiring in 1994, Perry struggled with alcoholism and poor financial decisions. Despite his NFL salary and celebrity earnings, he failed to manage his wealth. Family disputes emerged over his care and finances, and by the 2010s, Perry had just $13,000 in annual income and about $35,000 in assets. In a heartbreaking twist, his Super Bowl ring was auctioned for over $200,000, but Perry never saw a dime. The bigger blow came with his health. In 2007, Perry was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome, a debilitating autoimmune condition. By 2009, he had lost over 100 pounds and was in and out of hospitals. Alcoholism, diabetes, and mobility issues worsened his condition, and he was eventually placed in an assisted living facility in South Carolina. Johnny Unitas, born in 1933 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, was the original prototype of the modern NFL quarterback. Drafted in the 9th round in 1955 by the Pittsburgh Steelers, only to be cut before the season, his football future looked bleak. But the Baltimore Colts took a chance, and that decision changed NFL history. With his signature crew cut, steel-eyed focus, and commanding presence, Unitas led the Colts to 3 NFL championships, a Super Bowl victory in 1971, and earned 3 league MVPs. He strung together 47 consecutive games with a touchdown pass, an NFL record that stood for over 50 years. By the time he retired in 1973, he was already a living legend. But despite his greatness on the field, the money wasn't remotely like today. His peak annual salary was reportedly around $125,000, a fraction of what modern quarterbacks earn. Post-retirement, Unitas dove into business ventures to secure financial stability, but most of them collapsed. A major hit came from a Florida-based circuit board company he invested in during the 1980s. When the company failed, it left him with unpaid loans and lawsuits. He even filed for bankruptcy in 1991. Despite his fame, his financial resources were dwindling. To recover, he lent his name to small businesses, made public appearances, and helped launch the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award for college quarterbacks. Yet none of it was enough to restore the wealth he lost. He passed away from a heart attack in 2002. He was beloved, respected, and immortalized in NFL history. But financially, Johnny U's final years were far from the fairy tale his football career had been. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be posting a lot more interesting videos on the channel. I'd greatly appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. Thank you very much.